So blackmail, blackmails, blackmail discussion on the teaching profession. 2%. There are 2% black males nationwide in the field of teaching. All right. Um, so I had a well today grades were due,
Okay.
and I gave the students assignments. They didn't do them. The students were.
Like none of them did it?
I have a few students who do the work, who do the assignments.
Like by what percentage you think? Just rough
Two,
estimate.
2%. There
Okay.
are like three students who might keep up with the assignments.
Okay.
But all right, let me speak for one class in particular. We have a tremendous amount of distractions. Students walk into the classroom with the attitude, I'm not doing any work. And you can't change me. You can't change my mind about that. Students walk in and out of the classroom. Other students from other classes come into the classroom. So even if I'm trying to instruct, there's tremendous distractions, whether they're made by the students or made by even the administration. Distraction city is what's going on in that period. One of the biggest distractions is the cell phone, and the students are on their cell phones. I have students in that particular classroom who walk in and they go directly to an iPad or an iPhone. They'll prop it up as if they're doing work or something like that, and they will completely tune me out. And
Like
on top
watching
of
a
that,
movie or some shit.
that and they're wearing their headphones on top of that.
Yeah.
And okay, and this is the last period of the day. So even the better students wear headphones and will just do that, have that same routine. So there's already a disconnect between me and the students. They're not there to listen to me in any form or fashion.
They see it as like a free period, basically, almost.
Yeah, I suppose. And yeah, so back to the work issue. They don't do the work assigned. Um, Now today, being that it's the grade submittal day, one student had an F. She walks into the classroom and says out loud in front of everyone, to me in particular, she says, "Why do I have an F?" So I said, "Okay, let's sit down and look at the work that you finished." And she has done no work. I said, "Listen, this class period, you can do some of these assignments, and I'll change your grade." It was clear to her when she looked at the assignment list that and the fact that she hadn't done the work. It was clear to her why she had gotten her F. So I was asking her, why even ask? You don't come in here and do any work. I tried to get her to do some work. She did a few things, but then toward the end of the period, she was in the back. She laid her head up against the wall and she said, "I don't feel like doing any work." Now, during the period today, they did some work, but I had to be on top of them. And I had to point out, here's how you do this. This is what we do. These students are not reading instructions. The students they're not actively participating in their learning.
Yeah.
They are zombies on their cell phones. And that's what makes me frustrated. I'm like, what is really going on? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I hear what you're saying. I've experienced that. I feel like when you're teaching in an urban environment and we're teaching in a school in a low income community, these are the things you're gonna have to. These are things you're gonna face because they're in high school, right?
Yes.
So they've probably experienced things like this all the way, at least for the last 3 or 4 years. So they've been trained a certain way. And I remember when I taught, like, I used to expect kids to read instructions, but I realized they're not going to. So we have to read them together as a class. Like we read them together as what I would do is I would call on people to read it out loud. Then I would read them one more time together, and then let them do their stuff. And then I would have to circulate the whole time. And there's certain students at the beginning that they're gonna need help already. Like once you know the kids, and you like kind of go there. I would go there
Yes.
and make sure that they were, you know, doing what they needed to do. Because a lot of these kids, like you said, not that they don't want to read the instructions. Sometimes they have trouble reading the instructions, or at least confidence in themselves to read the stuff. So
No, I absolutely get that. But here's the situation. My best class. So what I described to you before was pretty much the worst class.
okay,
The best class, I had them today. I I gave them the assignment, I gave the instructions.
uh,
They followed it.
okay,
They had questions. They asked their questions, but they continued. They went along with the assignment,
okay.
which was great. However, at some point, I asked the class, "Let's read this article that we were using to do the assignment. Let's read it together."
Okay.
I heard crickets.
Like read it together out loud?
Well, I said, "Is there anyone who would like to volunteer to read first?"
Yeah.
Crickets. Now, mind you, many of them were on their these are my best students on their
Yeah.
cell phones. I had two other students on. Now, in particular, I had this one student on his cell phone, head down on the table, audibly laughing whenever he watched something.
He's watching.
He's laughing. Every now and a few minutes, I'll hear a laugh coming from him, and I'm like, "Don't you realize you are in class?"
It sounds to me like they don't fully respect the class, like, because they probably know that nothing's going to happen if they don't follow the rules. Whether it's from you or administration or a combination, like,
That's a very
because you might see the same students in other classes doing what they're supposed to do based on the teacher. That's one thing I realized.
with those students, with that particular student. Um, I think he might be on a team, and he thinks
Do
he's
whatever he wants.
exempt. You know, I've experienced that in other countries. They are in Saudi Arabia. That was called wasta, and wasta is you're exempt because your mom or your dad is rich. It's
Okay.
like, I'm not doing it. You can't tell me to do anything, and that's the attitude he has just being on a sports team, an athlete or what have you. But that was my better class. About four, let's say 5 or 6, a class of maybe 20, maybe 6 students completed the assignment as asked. The rest of them left the article that I printed for all of them. They left it on the table. They never touched it, never looked at it, and never cared to even ask,
That's hilarious.
should is this being graded? Should I even be concerned with this?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Hey man, that's what it is, man. It, like I said, it's tough to come in as a sub and take over a class.
So I think with that said, I might have to just wait a couple of years for these students to cycle out and for the ninth graders to come in and see me as just the teacher.
Well, probably not a couple of years, or probably they're probably gonna do what they're gonna do to the end of the school year, probably. But maybe if you start next year with a brand new class,
Yes.
then you can set the tone from the beginning. But you could also reset your class. Like I said, when I taught, I had some bad classes where I had to like come in and like reset. You know, have a heart to heart about the class, lay out expectations with like a PowerPoint, have them read out loud each one of the expectations and the consequences attached to that expectation. At the end of the day, they're still gonna probably still do a lot of the same behaviors because they are used to it.
Ah,
But at least if they start getting in trouble, at least they can't say I didn't know,
yes, yes.
you know, because like a lot of these kids just need like real serious classroom structure, and if you're not giving it to them, they're gonna do whatever they want. So and it's not easy to start. It's hard to start in the middle of the year, like with the reset. It's
Yeah,
not. I'm not saying it's gonna be a miracle cure, but that's what I used to do. But yeah, it's probably a lot easier at the beginning of the school year next year.
absolutely, absolutely, yes.
October 9th. That's where it starts.
You see, it's the same old thing.